So it's just as if the UK government is doing more bullshit like usual. I haven't really covered anything about governments or government in general because honestly to God, like every single time I do it, it just updates with new bullshit that the Labour Party is doing. It feels as if like now at every single time, it feels as if the Labour Party is just adding more bullshit onto the massive amount of bullshit that they literally just added to the fucking UK, which is not even advantageous whatsoever. Instead, right, it's a massive disadvantage. It's mostly done because they want to protect the children and protect the people, despite the fact that all of these laws that come into place right, are not even protecting the people or not even protecting anyone in general, especially for the last one I'm about to talk about, that is going to be the GSL, that has pretty much been just announced as the time of Road Safety Week, as to pretty much decrease the likelihood of crashes on UK roads. So the first one's going to be the Online Safety Act, which is already implemented, and shut the back right, it comes with negative exceptions. So the Online Safety Act is where like any pornography or 18 plus or anything the UK government deem as pretty much inappropriate would actually in fact be blocked off and pretty much require age ID verification check. This can be done via scan of your face or via a ID check, where basically you send a picture of your ID or send a picture of your face, and then after that, right, they either a figure out how old are you via the facial structure that you have, which is a lot less accurate because honestly, like some people could have like extremely older faces, and then they could be like over 18 or need to be 45, while some people who seem to be older look a lot more younger, so they seem to be looking as if they are minor, which won't allow them to do certain things. So this is where the ID verification check comes in, which way what you do right is send pictures of your ID front and back, I believe. I think they only use the front to basically these ID check companies, which are literally shady as fuck because we do not know if they even delete the data to begin with because it's so closed down, especially for the companies that take the ID, despite the fact that the ID is mostly the only thing that you need to just commit identity fraud, which is absolutely insane. So what it is right is that you either send a picture of your face or send a picture of your ID. They will check your ID to see how old you are, and then after that, right, I think they'll also need a picture of your face just to see if it matches. If it matches and you're over 18, then you're allowed to see the pornography content. But if you're not over 18, you'll basically be declined, and then you'll have that doubt in your mind to say right that have they deleted my ID or have they not? Because if it just stays there, it's just gonna be absolute bullshit because of one simple reason. Because simply it will be opening up to hackers. Really, hackers are gonna, in fact, gonna go into these servers and just literally get all the IDs that are stored on them. We already had the Discord data breach recently, where basically Discord had their servers had their chats leaked, which basically caused a bunch of IDs to be leaked, which is a very small amount, since basically a very small amount of people actually send their IDs to via the support tickets, because we all know for a fact, right, that the number one dumbest thing to do is send your ID via a support ticket, because we know for a fact that shit ain't secure whatsoever, because we know for a fact that ain't deleted whatsoever, and it's easily proved because they still have some from years ago, which is absolutely insane. And honestly to God, I don't know why Keir Starmer saying about this protecting the children, even though this does not protect anyone whatsoever. And this, in fact, causes more people to use VPNs if they want to look at pornography or anything 18 plus. Because and even the UK government and some people in the government are even using this. So it's so useless to the point where that the government knows damn well that nobody's even gonna abide by it because they're just gonna use VPNs and they know it, and they're literally using VPNs also. And it feels as if it's a massive failure nonetheless, and it just feels as if the Labour Party's reputation has just been declining ever since. They promised a bunch of stuff, but as soon as they got elected, they literally just be disobeying the people and literally just absolutely ruining their own reputation. Especially when we go over to the next thing, which is something that was supposed to come out, but now it seems as if that Keir Starmer has got his marbles together and pretty much decided to go, let's just put in an alternative instead of the digital ID. And that's what we're going to talk about, the digital ID. So the digital ID is supposed to, in fact, like, make it much more convenient for you to simply send over all your important documentation in one app to employers and such for free. And this will actually, in fact, make the manual process of you manually getting your documents together and send them over to actually cost a fee. So pretty much what they're doing, right, is making the thing that you already use cost a fee while making the alternative option, which is a lot more riskier since the servers are supposed to be hosted in the UK, but later it found out that they're hosted in Romania, the number one place where most cyber hacks in fact happen. This is the number one place, right, where you do not want your server to be, because it's literally in the number one country where have the top skilled hackers. And on top of this, right, they even did a test on the servers while they were up to see if any cybersecurity specialists would in fact see it and see if there's like a potential intruder within the servers. The outcome result, right, is that the hackers managed to not only bypass the cybersecurity specialist's detector, but also managed to in fact get in nice and smoothly to the point where it feels as if like, they weren't even detected at all, and like as if they're just a normal employee just accessing the server, which is not only absolutely insane, but also absolutely worrying, as soon as this releases, right, the people who won't use it are being forced in order to use it, and mostly hackers are just gonna aim for these servers in Romania and just keep on extracting as much digital ID data as possible, because they say, right, that it's gonna be a one-time thing where you just get the data and then it won't be stored on the servers. It's going to be stored on your end, which is kind of bullshit, really, because you have to get the data from the servers to begin with. So they're still gonna be stored on the servers no matter what. And what Kiss Darby say, right, is let's just make our data vulnerable as fuck, because guess what? We do not give a fuck. So that's absolutely fucking insane. So yeah, so looking at the digital ID is in fact getting an alternative or mostly getting pushed away, as most, if not all, people in the UK have been pretty much denying it. I just see it as like the most black box experience ever, where everyone sees it as a statistic or a number instead of the actual person themselves. The last one is something absolutely stupid and comes to mind straight about because of Road Safety Week. So Road Safety Week is basically a whole week that is dedicated to, you guessed it, not trying to get fucking ran over or killed on the road. Basically dedicated to the safety of the people and safety of drivers in general. And this, in fact, spikes something else that seems to be a massive disadvantage to new drivers, including myself, in the future, which is graduated driver licenses, which is not only really stupid, but also absolutely terrible, which nobody's going to abide by, and that the police ain't going to really give a fuck about. Because the graduated driver license as a whole is seen to be an absolute failure, as that it restricts new drivers to do certain things to the point, right, that it feels as if it's absolutely bullshit. So honestly, what this comes to be is that it's supposed to, in fact, right, decrease the speed limit of new drivers from 1 to 2 years to around 45, or to like a very low speed limit, especially on motorways. And on top of this, right, and if you're gonna talk about speed limit, right, this is going to make it a lot more dangerous, because honestly, it's just not going to feel as safe anymore. Because if anyone's going to stick to these systems or these rules, they're more likely to get into a crash than compared to someone who's not even abiding by it. Showing that there's more disadvantages to pretty much go to this graduated licensing instead of actually, in fact, by doing it normally, which is absolutely bullshit. It feels as if, right, that this is going to cause more crashes, especially on the motorway where you seem to, in fact, need to continue to go fast. So honestly, this is a way just to increase road safety, which is a bunch of bullshit, and this will in fact not protect anyone whatsoever, because nobody's in fact gonna abide by these laws whatsoever. So, what's the other things that in fact gonna do on top of reducing the speed limit? Probably prevent you from driving at night, which is absolutely terrible, as that some 70-year-olds or some 80-year-olds who basically get their driving licenses, or even adults in general who get their driving licenses, have night shifts or have something to do in the night that they in fact have to drive during the night. This restriction is in fact going to be absolutely terrible for them, as that they need to adjust their schedule just so they don't be breaking the law actively. But actively though, you're still gonna break the law, and it's just gonna be absolutely terrible. And honestly, I'll just really ignore this law, to be honest. Even if it gets implemented, it should not really affect you, because honestly, the police are who are gonna like get this who are basically gonna pull people over are just gonna be too stingy and too strict. But most, if not all, officers are just gonna in fact like just simply ignore it, because they do not really give a fuck. Like, the police officers and officers in general have much more busier or much more serious things to get themselves busy into and get themselves to do, than instead of pretty much pulling people over for breaking the graduated driving license thing, which is absolutely bullshit. It's not only driving at night, but also driving with a full car of passengers, which is absolutely insane. It's pretty much just like, oh yeah, you got your driver's license, but you're not allowed to do certain things. It's kind of like having a provisional, but kind of worse, really, because it's kind of like they want to bring the provisional license into the new driving license scheme, but they just want to do it in a way just so that it doesn't show as if they're absolutely restricting the fuck out of new drivers, which is absolutely insane. So apparently this is supposed to in fact like decrease accidents, decrease the likelihood of crashes, decrease deaths on the road, which is supposed to in fact be good. But in reality, this is in fact not gonna go well, since nobody's gonna abide by it, and it's just not gonna really work out as well. It seems like Kim Leader Beta lead beta. So apparently, someone who beats their lead or gets beaten by a lead pipe every day basically got the ideas for this. So if you want to become a Labour MP, number one, get your head bashed in by a fucking lead pipe. And then two, right, make these stupid rules, because it seems as if like that the Labour Party has been doing nothing but making a lot more shittier decisions as a whole. And mostly it's just not gonna really work out. So um apparently like the Department of Transportation has because like the Department of Transportation mostly affects driving also, they even said right, that they're not gonna, while we are not considering graduation driving licensing, we absolutely recognise that young people are disproportionately victims of tragic incidents on our roads, and continue to tackle this through our Think campaign, which is a lot more better compared to pretty much a graduated driving license. So it seems as if right, that the Department of Transportation is pretty much gonna absolutely block the living shit out of this, which seems to be a good thing and seems to be a massive W on the Department of Transportation, as in know for fact right that having a GSL or GDL is basically going to be a massive disadvantage, and that is not going to affect the statistics of uh, deaths via driving or victims of car crashes or any of the sorts. And they also say that we are considering other measures to address this problem and protect young drivers as part of our current strategy for road safety, the first in over a decade. So pretty much, the Department of Transportation was going like, let's just continue to do it our way. Let's just not listen to the fucking government because they're doing a bunch of dumbass bullshit. So pretty much, this thing is gonna fall out real quick soon as road safety week ends, because honestly, like, people are gonna forget about this. People are not gonna really get this serious, because honestly, there's too many disadvantages to this. The Department of Transportation has pretty much said right that they're not gonna implement it and not gonna consider it whatsoever. So we already know for a fact right, there's not that much support behind this. And it seems as if like Keir Starmer is not really supporting this either, as that if he supports it, he's gonna force it in whatever the fuck he wants. Just like the Online Safety Act, just like the Digital ID Act. He's gonna continue to force it in if he supports it. But it seems as if Keir Starmer's not gonna really support it whatsoever. So Yeah, it is if that's everything that the Labour Party has done. It feels as if Susie, in fact, got elected as MPs. They'll be doing nothing but absolutely destroying the laws of the UK, making it even more restrictive and overall making it ever so more tight locked to the point where that honestly myself it doesn't really feel right just to pretty much live in the country as the way it is because it feels if like that eventually someone who's in fact gonna come in is gonna do a whole refresh on the system of the UK to not only get it back on the straight line that it once was, but also to pretty much improve the livelihood of the UK by reducing the amount of restrictions on pretty much UK citizens and making it a lot more fairer, a lot more secure, with a lot more higher privacy instead of now where everything's a lot more restricted and that everything that you must do has in fact been sent to the UK government. That's mostly everything. Fuck the Labour Party. Fuck anyone who actually supports them. Thank you guys for in fact listening to this podcast. And I'm actually in fact gonna go right now. So stay safe.